So we're going to take a look at something called a stem and leaf plot value. So a stem and leaf plot has three key components to it. The first part being our stem. Then we have our leaves. And then we have a key that lets us know how to read this particular stem and leaf plot. So stem and leaf plots kind of break numbers up. So if we're looking at our key here, it says 2/3 represents 23, and it tells you the units. We're actually talking about dollars. So in this case, the part on the stem represents a number in the tens place, and the part on the leaf represents a number in the ones place. So we can use this to write out our data set. So in this first column here, row, we have the numbers 23, 25, 28, and 29. And then the second row tells us about our numbers in the 30s. 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, and 38. Then our numbers in the 40s, 42, 42, 44. We have nothing in the 50s because there's nothing written right there. And then we have one number in the 60s, 68. So even without writing all those out, we can still find all sorts of information using our stem and leaf plot. So we can still find a mode, a most repeated number. So if I look here, I can just look in the different rows and find repeated values. So I can see right here, we have a repeated value, which tells me I have two 44s, and that would be my mode. I can also find my range, because I can still find my minimum value, which is a 23, and my maximum value, which was a 68. And we can go ahead and subtract. 68 minus 23 gives me my range, which is 45. We can find our median in a similar way to how we did when we write it out longhand, right? A whole list of numbers is just by counting in from both ends of the data, right? So I'm going to go do that. All right, so instead of going left to right, we're kind of going to go bottom to top. So we're going to just cross off just like we did before. And we find two numbers in the middle. So 32 and 34 in the middle. So we need to take the average of them to get our median, which is going to be 33. All right, and we're not going to be doing this section on outliers. Okay, so we can also create a stem and leaf plot and then use it to find our mean, median, mode, and range. So when we're creating a stem and leaf plot, we want to go ahead and create a vertical line segment to separate our stems and our leaves. I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, okay, well, I have numbers in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm going to put my 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in my stem section. And I'm going to go through and find my leaves. So I'm going to find all of my 20s, any number in the 20s. And then I'm going to go ahead and list them from least to greatest. This is 27, so I'm going to put a 7 in my leaf section. And then we want to go through and find our 30s. We're going to find all the numbers that are in the 30s in our data set. And then we want to list the stem part of those numbers from least to greatest. So let's see. My smallest 30 is an actual 30. Then a 34, then a 35, 38, and 39. I think I missed one. Oh, that's right. I missed a second 38. So I'm going to turn that one into my second 38, and then I have my 39. So that's why it's important to highlight or circle so you can find, oh, I missed one. I didn't do all of them. All right. Next, we're going to go through and we're going to find any numbers in our 40s. So identifying all those numbers in our 40s, and there's only 2 of them, and we can go through and add them in. So the smallest one was a 41 and then a 43. And remember, we're only putting the values from the ones place in our stem piece. All right, so you take a moment, pause the video, try creating the rest of these stems by looking for your numbers in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then we'll come back together and check our solutions. All right, so we're coming back together here. And in our 50s, we had a 54, 255 or 355s. Then in our 60s, we had 60, 62, 63, 67. And then in our 70s, we had 72, 73, and 75. The last thing I'm going to write in here is my key. And I'm going to tell my readers, oh, you should read 2 and then the vertical bar 7. We should read this as 27. So we're going to say let 2/7 equal 27 so that they know how to go and read that. To finish this off, we're going to use this to find our median, our mode, and our range. I'm going to start with the easiest one, which is the range. So we're going to take our biggest number minus our smallest number. So 75 minus 27. And we'll get a range of 48. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to find my mode. So I'm going to look for any repetitions. So we have 2 38s from there. We have 3 55s. And those are all of my repeated numbers. So since 55 was repeated the most, that would be our mode. And now we can start crossing off numbers just like we did when we had a list to find our median. When we finish crossing off, we end up with 2 numbers, 54 and 55, and we want to find the average of those for our median. So 54 plus 55, we'll divide that by 2 to find our median of 54.5.